Here, Money, Marriage, and Media, and today we're looking at the gender war. Yeah, I know it's still dumb. Don't get me wrong, but every now and then, what I find is I need to look at some content that puts it on display, so you can see what's actually going on. If the concepts or if the arguments have changed. I mean, because otherwise you can easily get led back into the fold. It's a new issue now, really? And then you're right back in and you butting heads again. So look at Fresh and Fit podcast. I've said this in the past. That gender war is on full display here and I'm starting to wonder if if it's purposely being monetized on this platform. But like I said, we're gonna take a look at it and see what we got, right?
I'd say the ability to grow in an uncomfortable position because there's a lot less judgment that comes with marriage, whereas in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, there is that extra layer that kind of keeps you from getting too deeply rooted in each other, and a marriage kind of pulls back that layer and allows you to be overtly vulnerable and like chaotic. And
how does that benefit men?
Okay, so I think they're talking about the benefits of marriage to men, and look, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, the benefits of marriage for men is legacy. We know that the best environment to raise children in is in a two-parent household bonded by marriage. No way around that. So if you're looking to build a legacy, yeah, you should strongly consider marriage. Now, are these women gonna acknowledge that? Probably not, because the women on these panels on this show tend to be on the younger side, 25 and under for the most part, and women at that age, they're usually not considering like marriage. Most of them want to keep going with their options. So let's see what she's talking about. Maybe she may be the exception.
because men don't always have that platform to be emotionally vulnerable, and having a marriage that should be there, the basis of that marriage should
Chaotic?
be that, yeah, like to be a little less tailored emotionally to express himself. Even if it is chaotic, a wife can see that maybe he needs that support to work deeper and grow emotionally or grow mentally.
Do you think a husband being vulnerable with his wife is a good idea?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Okay, so I can already tell he's setting her up. But the reality is that what she's saying is not wrong. It's just that so few women will actually be interested in male issues that it's not. I mean, that's like statistically insignificant. So it's kind of a moot talking point. Is that one of the benefits of marriage? If you can find a woman like that, absolutely. But most women are not interested in male issues.
Yes. Yes.
What if I told you I disagree 1000% that being vulnerable with your girl is not good at all?
I think that your beliefs and your expectations of life have brought you validation in those beliefs because
Okay.
you attract what you believe.
Okay.
So you have every right to feel that way because what you've seen has proven valid to that point, because that is your spectrum of experience. And
What if I
your
told you there's a bunch of, not only do I have anecdotal experience, but I also have biological evidence that proves that women are not necessarily capable of accepting a vulnerable man? A man that's vulnerable isn't able to provide security, and a man that can't provide
that's
security
true,
is not attractive.
It's too black and
No, that's false. You can tell me that your father died and you're upset about it and makes you incapable of providing. That doesn't make sense. I mean, because so what we have going on here is that this is an extreme argument to begin with, and now we're going even more extreme with it. So there's a lot of nuance here. That doesn't really apply to the general population. Well, maybe they're going somewhere with this. Let's see.
right. And I appreciate the extreme. I really appreciate that like very rigid sense of awareness, but in my experience, it's not that rigid.
Okay. Question for you. You're a woman, correct? So
Yeah, I identify as a
you've
woman.
never dated women as a man, correct?
No.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that women have certain standards and wants out of a man?
Did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license, whereas in Florida, no open carrying is allowed?
Yes, that's a legitimate statement.
Security is probably one of the biggest ones.
Emotional or financial security? What do you mean security?
I would say both, probably, because they both
Both.
tie to each other fairly
I
tight.
don't
But
think it would be I don't think it would be wise to assume a woman should find that emotional stability and security in a man. I think it's found within self, and then it's kind of parallel within
a woman wants to be able to cry to her man and know that he's a stable rock and everything's going to be okay and she's not going to have any type of issues.
Sure, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
However, it doesn't work the other way around.
I
When a man
disagree.
cries in front of a woman, that
No.
woman will lose respect for him to some
No.
degree and or be unattracted to him.
No.
Now, are there some women out there that could sit there and tolerate their man being a complete bitch? For sure. However, most women don't want a guy.
You catch the shaming language there? So Myron, I know enough about Myron to know that he's very deliberate in the words that he uses. And yeah, it's just like I said, sometimes you're just perpetuating the gender war. You say things just to get a spark and see what happens. But the reality is that, gentlemen, if you can find a woman who is willing to help you deal with masculine problems, at least offer you. I'm not saying solve them for you, because that's not realistic and it's ridiculous too. But help you understand them. That is a very valuable tool in a wife. So that's definitely something you should look out for, because again, it doesn't happen every day. So it's just one of those rare things to help you balance out what balance the equation of what could be a potential marriage.
Who's weaker than themselves and they want a guy that can provide security
But what
in general.
what do you define as weaker? Because expressing vulnerability and manifesting it in terms of crying or being very verbal does not express directly as being incapable of being that still masculine energy that can still provide and still be secure. I think it's a sense of self-awareness that comes from being able to express to your woman.
Now, again, notice what we're talking about here is that we've gone from men being emotional to men crying. Again, extreme arguments. This is why I say, the gender war is dumb. Because do men experience emotions other than crying? Yes. But as if you're looking to be a wife, then you have to be ready for a man that's going to have more than just one emotion. Is he going to be crying all the time? No, he shouldn't be. But there are other emotions out there, regret, disappointment, anger. These are all things that men experience. We got to get out of this mindset that says that, well, you the only way you can experience emotion is either he's crying or it's anger and don't cry in front of your girl. No, because it makes it seem like you can't express any emotions in front of your woman. That's not the case. The woman that you marry should be able to identify with you, to see things from your perspective, and to help you understand where your place is in the world. Now, they shouldn't be trying to solve the problems for you. Those things, but they should be trying to work with you and assist you in helping out with solving your issues.
In this moment, I need you to comfort me. Obviously, if it's every day and there's no ability to cope within himself and no sense of internal self-soothing, then yes, it can be overwhelming. It can be a turn off.
Why open up Pandora's box?
Why does it have to be Pandora's box? Why
Because
can't it
women
be-
aren't necessarily equipped and or understand male struggles at all.
Well, so there's...
Men and women have different life experiences
We have
that
different
vastly change
perspectives.
the way we view the world and we view adversity and problems.
We have different perspectives. We have similar experiences. It's all
Not
about...
at all. There's a burden of performance on men that is not on women. If a
So
man's
sure.
a loser, he feels the ramifications of being said loser. If a woman's a loser, it's not that big a deal. She can go ahead and find a guy to take care of her. Men must hold on.
I have a great
Hold on.
statement. So.
There is a burden of performance on men. Men must be stronger. Actually,
Yeah.
matter of fact, hold on. Just rewind the show. All of you guys said you wanted a man who's taller than you,
I didn't say
who's
that.
stronger than
I
you,
didn't say
makes more money than you.
it's not harder to
All
be
of you
stronger
described
than
the
me.
man. All of you
90
will describe
pounds.
the man who, quite frankly, on paper is better than yourself. So my thing is this.
Wait.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, so this is a gotcha moment, and it's very popular on YouTube. But I'm surprised nobody has said anything about this, because he uses this argument a lot. But the reality is that the things that he's talking about are masculine qualities. So do women want a man who is more masculine than them? Yes, 100%. So that, but that doesn't. So this is where, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of times Myron in particular gets labeled as being a misogynist, because people they don't know what that word means. They think it's just talking down about women, but it's actually not. But this is the reason why he gets labeled that, is because you put women in a light to where the men are better than they are, when the reality is that men are just better at being masculine than women are, as we should be. It's kind of simple there, but if you have an agenda and you're trying to push it, and again, this show is popular because the gender war is on display, and we get a lot of this going on and just butting heads. So you have to. This is another reason why we have to start paying attention to stuff like this, because you have to be able to break these conversations down so that you can avoid this stuff. Because in real life, this conversation would never happen. It would just be, oh, okay, well, you know what? I don't need to mess with that person anymore. And then you end up with both end up going their separate ways. But here again, we're pro marriage. We're trying to make things work. Peel back the layers to find out what kind of person, what a person's character is, and there may be something there to align with. But you're never going to know that if you don't know how to break these conversations down and start having to get to the real issues.
Women are sexually aroused by and attracted to men that are better than themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a biological hardwiring for that.
Sure.
And if a woman is with a man who is inferior, she's not going to respect him to the same degree. She might refer to him as a joker. She might say, we just started dating, or whatever it may be. But when a woman is with a man that she respects, she speaks about him in a certain way, and she talks about him in a certain way, and she looks a certain way when she speaks about said man.
Yeah.
So let's break that down. For the most part, women are attracted to men who are more masculine than they are. It's the same. It's the opposite is true. Men are attracted to women who are more feminine than they are. It's not necessarily better. He's better at being a man. That's what that breaks down to. But if you say it like Myron does, then yeah, it's insightful behavior.
My thing is, women respect strength.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable and crying in front of your girl is not attractive. Now,
again, we're talking about it. It's supposed to be a conversation about emotions, but all of a sudden, emotions always get linked to crying. Why? Because it's a hot button topic that incites the gender war. Say what it really is. Well, if he replaced it with anger, then all of a sudden his argument falls to pieces, right? But if you keep it focused on crying, something that most women are not going to find attractive in the dating phase, right? They're not going to find it attractive in the marriage either, but it will help strengthen your bond between the husband and wife. Why? Because now because the woman actually will respect the fact that he trusts me enough to let me inside and share his feelings with me. So it doesn't necessarily have to be crying all the time. It could be any of the emotions. No woman wants to come home to a robot who has no feelings whatsoever, has the same stone face all the time. That's not realistic.
could there be a minority of women out there that will accept a guy that will cry like being a bitch, whatever? For sure. But if I lined up 100 women, I would argue 90 of them are probably going to be turned off by a guy that cries and doesn't have security set. So my thing is, if I know 90% of women are not attracted to that, I got to go off the generalities. Don't cry in front of your girl, because most women don't understand that we live different experiences and men must perform, women cannot. I could go ahead and find a girl that's 19 years old, that's a fucking bimbo working at McDonald's, and she could probably pull a millionaire. However, if I take a guy that's extremely handsome working at McDonald's, he ain't going to pull no fucking millionaire.
Okay, so they make this argument all the time. That's why you can tell I watched a couple of episodes. But notice, because they will say on this show that the goal for women is to get a ring. Okay, so are they going to marry that girl working at McDonald's? Probably not. That'd be a bad decision. Why? Because if you're a millionaire and you marry the girl who's working at McDonald's, what's she got to lose from divorcing you? It's actually still a come up. She ain't gonna be working at McDonald's anymore, right? You're gonna be paying for her salary. She'll never have to work again. That's what she starts thinking. That's why you gotta have. That's why you're looking for relationships. I say this all the time, are about balance. You can be the breadwinner. Well, you can be in extreme cases. You have a stay-at-home wife, but she has to have some kind of skill set that balances out the amount of money that you make. It's just that's why it's a good match. Now I could go on for a whole video about that, but we're not here to do that. We're gonna keep this going just a little bit longer. This, you know what? We might do some more fresh and fit reactions because there's a lot to be broken down here, especially if we want to avoid the gender war. Because again, why? Because it's dumb. Let's keep going.
Woman, it is not the same. Men must perform. For women, it's elective.
You got a point?
You go ahead.
I mean, I think there's a sense of strength that comes with vulnerability, and you want, like, when you're looking for marriage, you say everything's generalized. But when you're looking for marriage, are you looking for that generalized woman, or are you looking for that 1% that really connects with who you are? And if you live within that mindset that women are within the same sector of existence, then you'll always attract women within that mindset. So
I know how women in general think, and even
She
though
has a
what you're
point.
saying sounds politically correct and a woman should be
It's
able to
not-
accept the guy that cries, I'm saying that most women are not. It's very different when you're with a
Facts. But you only got to get it right one time, though. So you don't need all women to accept it. And the other thing is that it gets even more scarce because you've got to find a woman who is willing to accept it with you, not just men in general. So yeah, but like I said before, I've said this before, is that men and gentlemen, if you find a woman who is like that, who is willing to work with you, no matter what, then yes, that is the definition of a wife. Because when you marry, it's till death do you part. So he's not wrong, and you know he's not right either, because he's saying to no woman. It's like, no, you have to be able to open up with a woman, particularly if you're going to be sharing a future, because you guys have to agree on a lot of big issues. But you can't do that if you're always hiding what's really going on with you. That's just not going to work. She's going to develop a distrust for you.
man, that man's responsible for taking care of you, protecting you, and providing for you. And he cries in front of you saying, I don't know what we're going to do. Used to be in the military, right? Mm-hmm. If you're commanding officer, you guys are in the middle of a confrontation or whatever, and he starts saying, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. Bullets are fucking flying. Everything else may be fucking going haywire, etc. He's your commanding officer. How's that going to make you feel?
Shit, I'm gonna feel like we're fucked.
Exactly.
So.
Now, when it comes to a relationship, women tend to view their guy the same way. If he can't perform, they're gonna look at him like, what the fuck is going on? It's one thing to say, I'll accept a man that's vulnerable. However, when he's sitting there in front of you crying, not knowing how he's gonna pay the bills or take care of you, you guys might lose the house. I promise you, your vagina's gonna dry up.
But
I promise you.
But that's so different. You're speaking about vulnerability in a financial instability sense. If you're speaking about vulnerability in an emotional capacity, it's very different. It's all subjective. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to be your provider, I'm going to take care of things, and then one day you're like, oh my God, like, what the fuck do? I don't know what to do. That's different, because it's like you did express you would have this figured out. But if you say, listen, I'm going to take care of you financially, but I don't always have it together emotionally. I don't always have it together like in certain ways, and I need you to be willing to hear me out when I need that support.
That's true.
I have some
Why go to a woman for that when I can go to my guy friends who are better equipped?
Because you're supposed to trust your wife before your friends. That's why. But hey, you know, that's what it is. Your wife, you're supposed to trust your wife before your friends. Your friends should not come before your marriage.
Why is that your innate impulsive response?
That's your personal experience, is what I'm going to say.
My personal experience?
No, I would say that's your personal.
I would really want to say. I would hate it if my boyfriend came to me.
That is your personal experience, because
I feel like
Merch. Okay,
relationship, whether
okay,
it's
go ahead.
male, female, male, male, female, female, it's all about communication.
Yeah.
You tell them how you feel,
Yeah.
and that gets the point across. And you can fix things. You can A plus B.
I want to
equals
fuck other
C.
bitches, and you're gonna be at home, and you can't have sex with other guys.
Yeah, and
I've had
Hold on. How does that? I want to have sex with other girls. You must be monogamous to me. However, I'm going to go out there and have sex with other girls. I'm going to look at other girls, and you can't look at other guys. Matter of fact, I also want you to take your Instagram down. Can't go on girls' nights out, etc. How does that make you feel?
And that is 100% accurate, honestly. I
Okay.
agree with
What is
that.
Now, hold on.
What is
Here's the
that?
thing. If I told most girls that, they would not accept it. This is why.
Yeah, they're not going to accept it because your value is not high enough from their perspective. But again, like I say, relationships are always about balance, right? So if you want all that, then you must be you got to be damn near perfect. Let's just put it like that. most guys, and this is the problem I have. This is the main issue I have with the Fresh and Fit podcast is because I can't figure out who the podcast is for. Is it for average men? Because that's what they say, or is it really for high value men? Because most guys can't say that stuff. Why? Because their value is just not high enough. Most women aren't going to tolerate that. So who is he making an argument for here? Who is he really helping? I don't know. I can't figure that out. If you guys know, sound off in the comments, because I'd really like to know. It helps break down these conversations that we're having.
Why men can't be honest with women?
Why?
I know, because it's
I just proved my point just now.
Hold on. They would want
That's
that.
what most men want in
Want?
their girlfriend, but they cannot say that.
They
Why
want
should
that?
the
I don't know.
It's
What?
okay for you to do it, but it's
That's
not okay
extreme.
for us to do it.
That's extreme.
Okay.
Which
You want
think
like
that
if you were to
provide
meet your
more.
divine life partner, someone you
Oh,
really
here we
want to
go.
spend your
Divine
life
life?
with, you would like your ultimate who you want to commit your life to, you would want to have.
I was giving an example of what most men want within a relationship.
Well,
I
is
just
that what you
described
just
it.
facts.
Is that what you would want?
I
If I lined up 100 women, 95 of them would agree with me.
I agree with him.
I agree with
100%.
you.
That guys would want that.
But
This is what men want.
hell yeah, they
So
want
true.
it.
To
That's
do
why
what
everybody
they
gets cheated on. Are
want
you
and
crazy?
to be.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between me and you.
Gosh, these
Here's-
are like really like
Go.
we're talking
Well, hold
about
on.
people
Here's the
that are
difference
so
between me and her.
superficial.
See, here's the difference between me and her. I understand how women think, and I also understand how men think. The difference is this: women are in a very privileged position
Yeah.
where they don't have to understand how men think
Yeah.
because men come up to you no matter how you look, how you behave, whatever. Men, however, that are good with women at least, must understand how women think to attract them and retain.
Master debater. See, no one even noticed that he really just moved the goalpost there, and he avoided what she was talking about altogether. If they don't go back to what she was talking about before, then hey, he's like I said, master debater.
them. So the reason why you're able to say the things that you're saying, which I'll be honest with you, are fairly ludicrous, is because you don't understand what it's like to date a woman as a man, and that weakness is not tolerated by women. It's a biological instinct. Women are designed to look for men that are better than themselves, that can provide for them. So if I show traits of lack of security, lack of awareness, lack of leadership in the chaos, what happens is the girl loses respect for me, and she's going to start to look for other men. It starts with the bills, starts with me crying, starts with me being vulnerable. So what I tell guys is go out there and talk to men that understand your gripes, because women aren't. We live different worlds where there isn't the same burn of performance. You can get into a nightclub for free, I must pay. You can get on a boat just by existing, I must pay. I go ahead, I have to get a certain job and make a certain amount of income to attract a certain caliber of woman. You don't. So you cannot sit there and say we are the same. We play by different rules. We have different realities. And unfortunately, that coincides with how we mate with each other and how we deal with each other. So for you to say, oh, you should be able to be vulnerable with me. No. For you could be vulnerable to a man. He's not going to judge you. But if a man is vulnerable to a woman, there's a high likelihood that she will judge him.
Okay, well I wouldn't if you're vulnerable.
Okay,
to me.
fantastic. That's you. But the exception does not make the rule. 90.
Okay, so what did we learn here? Well, for one, we learned that Myron is a really great debater because he didn't challenge on the fact that he just moved the goalposts, right? But also, like I keep going back to this because it's important. Relationships and marriage in particular are about balance. What he was talking about was the fact that the men do all these things, or men have this high list of things that they want to do, but they can't say. Well, you're right. You can't say them. Why? Because you don't have it. You're not bringing enough value to the relationship to warrant a woman giving into that. It's the same thing with women. Well, if you're an average guy, right? Okay, well, you don't make $90,000 a year, and you're probably not going to. Well, why should a woman marry you then? Because again, it's not what she wants, but she's willing to come down on her list of things for you. So in other words, you should be willing to come down on things that you have on your list. It's called compromise. And that's how marriage works. You guys have to find a woman who is willing to compromise on what she wants, because you're willing to compromise on what you want in order to build a legacy together. Because ultimately, that's the most important thing to get done. So we're going to leave it there. You guys like and subscribe. We're looking for more subscribers, looking for more content. Okay. Remember to like the video. It's very important. We're trying to get pushing the algorithm so we can move up and get more people attracted, because we need more married couples at the end of the day. We need more nuclear families in order so we can rebuild a community. But I'm going to stay ghost till the next time, guys. Have a good one.